Hi friends, Mindy here. Today I'm going to be working on day 2 of Handcrafted from Bythewell4God. I'm just pulling out my little folder here from my journal that I created. I do have a process video showing how the assembly of that journal came together. And the first thing that I'm going to do here is paint just with some Americana black paint here on the front cover, just covering right now just only the front side. And I'm going to use this stencil from Bythewell4God. This coordinates with the Handcrafted kit. You could get it as an add-on. And I'm going to be using some modeling paste. And what I'm using is some light and fluffy modeling paste. You could use, there's several different brands that you can use. And then I'm using some pigment powders from Prima. These are actually called Color Bloom or Color Burst sprays. And you're supposed to add water to the spray and then, or to the powders, and then, you make your spray. The reason I have not done that is because when I read on the bottle, it said that it doesn't have a fixative in it. And so if you're, to use it, then it's not going to be, it won't really adhere to your projects and stuff. It needs this fixative sprayed on top. And it was just not something I was really interested in fussing with. So I've had those in my stash a while, and so I just thought I would use them today as the pigments, like a pigment powder. If you've ever seen like Brusho, that's like a powdered watercolor, that's basically what I'm using. So you can see I kind of ran out of paste here. I need to make some more, so I'm just going to pull out a little bit more of this light and fluffy modeling paste. This is from the Crafters Workshop. And then I'm going to just sprinkle on a little bit of this powder. And what you'll notice if you've ever seen like Brusho or whatever, when you're mixing it, it's going to you'll see streaks of kind of other colors mixed in there, just the nature of mixing pigments. And so you just have to make sure that you mix it really well. If you like the streak kind of look, then that would be a different effect too. But I'm really trying to go for matching what I had already created. I just didn't make enough of it the first time around. So I'm going to go back in here into my stencil and I'm doing a really thin coat. I want it to be able to dry fast, and I don't want a super ton of texture. You could definitely use, more textural things if you wanted. You can see where there's a little bit of pigment there, but when it's finished, you don't really notice. And then I got some on the back cover here. I was a little overzealous, so I decided I would just go ahead and paint the back side black as well. I'm not going to be doing any decorating on the back, but just to have that consistent. And then you can see there's a little bit of areas where my stencil smushed a little bit, or I didn't get a really clean stenciling, but I can fix that really easily later on. So day 2 is talking about why we were created, and that we were created for His glory. And so I'm going to use this journaling card as kind of my title for the outside of this folder. And I have this lace that's like on a roll. It's self-adhesive. There's adhesive on the back, but I've had it in my stash for a really long time, so I don't really trust the adhesive at this point. So I'm just adding some more adhesive along the bottom of this card, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue down this little piece of lace, and then I'm just going to trim it down. And I'm using, I think I used Fabri-Tac there, or either that or Helmar Quick Dry. I've been using those kind of interchangeably lately. And then on the inside, I have a pattern paper, and I want to just use one. I'm trying to save as much of this paper as I can, because I know I'm going to be needing a lot of it throughout the next, all 14 days. So I'm trying to make it stretch a little bit. So I have cut this in half, and the reason I did that is because I was just trying to stay away from the spine. This little folder is already going to get thick enough, and so by doing this, it just allows the spine to fold. It will just fold better, and it will sit in the journal a little bit better as well, so not having that more bulk in the spine or in the fold. So your eye will kind of draw the line, across, so you don't really notice that it's split as much once it's folded in the book. So it just helps with that. And then that obviously left a little bit of room on either side. So I'm just taking this washi tape. I've had this washi tape in my stash as well. I would want to say it's like a Tim Holtz one, but I don't think that's true. anyway, I've just had it for a long time, and it just happened to be perfect for this kit. So I'm looking forward to using this up as much as I can. It's just like a black ruler. So I'm just tearing it off here, the edges, and then that will kind of create my borders for this. And then it, just fills in that gap where my paper was just a little bit too short for this. The papers are 6x8 and they coordinate with the kit as well, but my book's a little bit bigger than that. So here I'm going in with a Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen, and I've just filled in, I just basically covered over some of those textured areas that to kind of clean up the look of the stencil. And then I have these 2 flashcards that go along with the scriptures for today. I'm just going through and pulling out different things that I think I'm going to be using. So I want to put some florals on here, and I am pulling out a bunch of journaling cards. There's a lot of scripture in this devotional. Lori just has a lot of scripture references, which I love. If you've watched my stuff before, you know that. So, but I like to include as many of them as I can for each day. So it means that I'm going to have to do some creative maneuvering here. So I took this Patterns of Faith card. This is a journaling card that you can get that matches the kit. And I wrote one of the scriptures on the front of this card. This is the one, I believe that's in 1 Corinthians, this verse. And I just wrote it kind of in this little area down here at the bottom and kind of filled in this card. And now I'm taking the 2 flashcards and I rounded the corners and I'm running them through my little itty bitty tiny sewing machine. This is a Singer, I believe, and it's just a little tabletop. This is my kind of foray into learning how to sew. So I'm just adding a little bit of stitching just for some texture on the card, and it I haven't quite been able to figure out how to get this exactly like perfectly straight. There's no like guard or foot that you can kind of keep hold it steady with. So some of my stitching is a little wonky, but that's okay because it's handmade. So there you go. Anyway, now I'm just taking one of those journaling cards, and on the back I wrote out one of the verses, and then I decided I was going to use the back of the Patterns of Faith card and this other flashcard. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to make a tip-in with this card, and so I'm making sure that this flashcard will kind of look interesting from both the front and the back. So I'm kind of putting it off at an angle, and it'll look like I'm just kind of backing up the card, kind of matting it, but really I'm going to be using it as a tip-in. So just kind of trying to make it look visually interesting from both sides. I'm going to go ahead and write out the verse. And I have gone ahead and used some other journaling cards and a tag, and you can see I have scriptures and notes just kind of everywhere here. So I also added a little bit of that canvas. It looks like a ruler actually, and I think it's canvas. Anyway, it was one of the textures that actually came in the kit, and I just cut off a little bit and added it as a little tab on that journaling card on the right. And here I have one of the girls on the team sent me some of this like pattern, like paper, like an actual sewing pattern, and so I've been using little bits and pieces of it, and I just thought I would tuck it kind of in here in between the card and the flash card, and I'm just going to run a little bead of glue back there just to kind of add a little bit of interest, something else. It might not make sense, but I know it's there and I know what it is, so I just liked the extra textural element. I knew going into this kit that everything that I was going to do for the most part was going to have a lot of different textures and layers and different things, just because of the nature of this kit and all the beautiful things that coordinate with it. So what I have done here is I'm just gluing back down this. This is a library card that I wrote some scripture on, and I wanted to get it kind of lined up exactly with the one in front, so it's hidden for right now. And I'm using just some leftover clear sticker paper, and I'm burnishing it in. And I like to do this when I'm doing tip-ins, because then I don't, I'm not using washi, or I can still kind of keep, especially when I write like all the way to the edge, I don't have to worry about that getting covered up with washi tape or whatever. So I just use clear sticker paper a lot of the time. So I actually save my little offcuts when I do, print out things or whatever. So that's what I've done here. And then I always put it on both the front and the back, because otherwise, when you fold it open, there's like an exposed sticky edge. And so I just feel like this just really seals it down in there really well. And so then I'm also going to create a little pocket over here on the right. And I wrote the definition of aseity down here, and then I'm just going to make a pocket with this other journaling card. So I wrote a couple scriptures on here, and then the definition, and then I have the flashcard, and on the back of the flashcard is another verse, and these are all talking about the self-sufficiency of God. And so all of these verses kind of coordinate together. And then I took one of the digital elements that had those tags, and I cut that out, and I wrote some scripture on the back of that tag as well. So I have lots of scripture tucked in here, and I'm just going to do the same thing with this flashcard. I'm just going to create a little tip in. So I have my little handle there that I created from that ribbon. And then I'm just going to do the same exact thing. I'm just lining it up with the edge of that pink journaling card there, burnishing it down, and then I'll put another little piece on the inside just to make sure that there's no exposed sticky edge. And that way I have a place to hold all of the scriptures and notes and things. And then I'm just, for interest, I'm adding some florals up here in the top right-hand corner of this page, so that when you pull out the tag, there's something kind of taking up space there. And then I have this other floral as well, and I'm just going to have this kind of tucking out of that journaling card. So I've already glued that down, obviously, so I'm just cutting what I think I'll need off of there and just kind of tucking the edge of it right behind, and then I can save that other piece for something else. So that makes up the inside of here. And then I want to add something to my little hole here on the tag. So I'm just taking some ribbon. This was in my my little Fobby Bob set, so I didn't use all of the pieces on there yet. So I'm just going to take this on, and I cut down a little tiny piece. I'm just using my tiny attacher to staple it down. And then haven't adhered everything to the front cover just yet. I wanted to kind of make sure I had everything done for the inside. So now I need to add this piece on, and I wanted to add it kind of lifted up, but I knew I didn't want to use foam tape. So one way around this is to use like kids craft foam. That's really what this is, like from the kids craft section. It's about the same thickness as regular foam adhesive. And the great thing about it is when you're doing like a whole surface like this, you can just cut out a big square, and it'll really keep it so you don't gotta get those divots, that can happen when you only have like 4 squares of adhesive, like foam or whatever. So it's a way to just make sure the whole thing is raised up. And because of the textured background, I wanted to make sure that I had the most surface area glued down as I possibly could. And then I realized that this lace was just a little bit too white. And so literally what I did is I just took whatever color was like left on my little blender brush there, and just went over it really lightly, just to kind of darken it up and make it match this ribbon that I'm using. I cut this down to where I only had like the 2-inch mark, because this is day 2, and I just thought that would be a fun way. So then I took some satin ribbon to back that up, and I'm just cutting a little kind of making it like a banner there at the bottom, just to kind of give it a little bit of interest. It's kind of hard to see on camera, I think, but anyway, so you have this is it. I also added a little strip up at the top just to kind of tie them in. And then I have these cute little clothespins, mini clothespins, and I'm going to add that at the end, but I'm going to wait till I get it back into my book, just so I'm not fighting with it. So you can see here everything that flips open. There's scriptures. I have a scripture here and some quotes, and another scripture that I found while I was doing my study on this day that wasn't actually included in the devotional. So here is my journal. I'm just going to pull up the string for, the second string here and add this through. This is a little tricky when it's kind of as texture textural as this, so I just pulled out that tag to make it a little bit easier, but it just slides in there. And then I'm going to add my little pink clothespin here on the side just for a little extra interest, and that's it. So if you like this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And until next time, bye.